ready.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and Merry Christmas. It is KeSPA Cup time, our final match of the night. BBQ Oliver's taking on SKT. This is going to be the big one. I'm Atlas. This is, of course, Papa Smithy, and we are feeling the Christmas spirit all the more now that we've got Sweet League of Legends.
And the festivities don't end with our first 3-game series. We get SK Telecom T1, the dream team, as they've been dubbed by the Korean fans, making their re-entrance into the tournament, easily dispatched APK Prince and their assortment of Christmas past. It's all about Christmas Day. It's all about SKT versus BBQ. BBQ Oliver's also completely new look from their failed attempt to stay in LCK Summer. LS, their new head coach, their Swedish jungler. There's a lot about BBQ Oliver's to like, but it's one thing to get to the SK Telecom match. It's another thing to actually take a series from SKT. Will this just be a straightforward one for SKT, or just like KG, could there be some right turns ahead in this best of 3?
And is it going to be the crazy draft that we saw LS manage to put together with his ridiculous top lane decisions into Karthus jungle, and it's not going to be the Zinza because he's globally banned. However, certainly some other cheesy things that he could throw into the mix, and that might be a way that they're able to topple the titans that are SKT based on what we've seen so far.
And we'll wait and see what we see in-game. But like you say, will it be SKT playing their own game or saying, ooh, ban Karthus, can't deal with that? That's also a query we'll have to say. But to the many people out there joining us for this very hyped second series, more SK Telecom, BBQ on their Western element, a very Merry Christmas to you guys. We know that Christmas is all about the high highs. A lot of people have a big family they get together with, but some people, you know, like us, for example, we don't get family time. We have esports time, but we put together an esports family.
It's okay, Papa Smithy, we are still with our family here tonight. We've got all you
spent
guys
so
at
many
home,
hours with
and
them.
we're here together. I've already got you at your Christmas present.
True.
Do you want to
I
show everyone
this
again?
Beautiful plaque you put together here. I love this framed photo of
from
a
the
time when I
newspaper
had
clipping.
A lot more hair, but a lot less of a beard. So a trade-off that I'm feeling okay with.
You had more hair up top, but you've managed to move it towards down here.
And look, I'll take that trade. I'll take this trade because it's awesome to be with you guys here. We're very much a family. We just want to see some more Korean League of Legends and SK Telecom T1. The best of them in that series definitely looked like some Mighty Ducks style flying V cool plays. We have Teddy, who comes in almost an hour of gameplay without dying. So he's already
what is it, like 11-0-26 or something like that?
He's on form. That's a very big, it's an undefined KDA, not even a huge KDA. So a lot to like about SKT, but who's playing? That doesn't look like Haru in the jungle. Clid will retain his spot, and there will be no changes from the team that faced down APK Prince and went out for an easy 2-0.
Yep, not going to be moving crazy into the top lane or anything like that. Khan is going to keep his spot there as well. Vega, Teddy, and Mata, no-brainers when it comes to that side of the map. This is the team that looked so extraordinarily good the first time they hit the Rift. However, you know, it's not exactly the competition that you'd expect at the height of the LCK, and now we're moving into BBQ Oliver's not exactly a name that you'd put amongst that as well. The competition is only going to get more and more fierce here for SKT, but the way they were able to dismantle their last opponents was what made us so excited about SKT.
You can
because
still
they
learn
so
things, right?
clean.
And that's the thing, Alice. You can still learn things by just looking at one side of an equation. You can't decide, you can't render a verdict, but you can definitely learn things. As we certainly learned some new things about League of Legends from BBQ Oliver's. When they flexed the Zinja out top, they rolled with the Karthus jungle, and that was after Malice had gone legendary in his professional debut. First Western player to play on a Korean team, 8-0-8 in his first game on the Kazakhs. BBQ Oliver's getting over the first hump. They took down the ES Sharks, but it's a very different beast to face. There's one thing about a Shark and another thing about a Dream Team, and the Dream Team is what being repped on the side of SK Telecom T1.
Yeah, and BBQ, I mean, having an import from Europe, but also having one that hard carried his team in both of the games that they managed to pick up is pretty damn impressive. Coming in from Sebastian, as you can see in the front row there, playing under the ID of Malice. He was actually a player that played on one of the IESF teams for Sweden as well. It was his first international showing before now moving over after being that solo queue god that you spoke about last time. There's a cute little Santa there.
It's an imposter Santa. I am the true Santa. My hat, much more 3D.
Like, are you feeling threatened by Mata's Santa?
I am feeling very, very threatened.
Don't worry, yours is absolutely fantastic. As we caught a glimpse there of LS standing behind his players. Going to check out some of the trivia from these ones. There was actually a time where BBQ were able to topple the gods of SKT because they didn't have a great 2018, Papa Smithy, if we look back.
And 2015, BBQ Olivers were then known as ESC Ever. Isn't it weird? We have a League of Legends tournament that has been won by ESC Ever, now BBQ Olivers, and has never been won by SK Telecom T1. They've won everything else, but no KeSPA Cup victories in the war chest for SKT. Maybe this is their best chance where their lineup gets to build some on-stage experience before a lot of the other big guns of the LCK have even made their debut on the big stage. So we'll see how SKT T1 can fare today. Such a different proposition to the team that lined up in summer and looked a bit anemic, was definitely creaking to the end of the regular season and could not make it to the World Championships. Now they're known as the Dream Team, and we don't know if that's ironic. Remember, the KT Super Team was ironic for the majority of its lifetime until it finally won. A full zoom in on both the famous logo and also the Merry Christmas being worn on the jersey here by Clid. Had some great
counter-game
moments.
He doesn't look very merry, though. I feel like Clid is looking like he's ready to take some names.
And he may do so. He's rank 3 on solo queue right now. His Lee Sin needs no introduction. Might see more of it, that 9 KDA Lee Sin, when we get into picks and bans. And BBQ Olivers, we only know when their roster comes together, when all 5 champions are locked in. And even then, Atlas, even when we think we know, the swaps can still throw us through a loop.
Yep. And we're looking at the Kazakhs here, especially in my mind when it comes to Malice, because 8-0-8, his debut performance here in Korea on a professional team is pretty ludicrous. I mean, we're hearing Dumb One Gaming talking about the fact that they were nervous in Game 1. It's why they dropped it against KEG and all these sorts of things. Malice comes in and just dominates in his first match. It's extraordinarily impressive. Picks and bans are now upon us, and we'll see whether that is going to be hitting the benches. Karthus is, of course, taken away. SKT do not want the funny business.
We get a little bit of an answer. They want to take away the unknown variables. They say, we know how to play against the regular champion pool, patch 824B. We don't need to ban Xin Zhao in favor of Xin Zhao top, Hokong, and the bug around how much damage his ultimate did was the reason the Xin Zhao is now globally banned. They're just going to ban away the Karthus, get a freebie with the Nico and the Xin Zhao taken off the roster. But they're going to follow that with one of the much more standard bans, the Flex Assassin Aurelia. They're clearly not willing to first pick.
And I'm actually a little bit sad here that the Camille comes in as well, because I really wanted to see Clid's Camille. No one else, if you're a BBQ fan, you certainly do not want to see that. But when he was over playing for JD Gaming, Clid was so incredibly good at utilizing the champion, especially when it came to the first few minutes of the game. Very creative in the ways that he got around the map. So not going to see it this time around, but I'm looking forward to it in the future.
Did you see a Zoe ban, actually, from SK Telecom as well? That was played by Autumn. It was a pretty decent performance, not a game breaker. Seems like they were fishing for a Cassiopeia first pick, but no one willing to give that one up.
Oh, hell no.
Saw it a couple of times on the Rift, and, well, we learned that that should not be left open. But something has to slide out. When Karthus and Zoe are banned on blue side, something is going to be available for a first pick. Lucian will be preferred in that role. Something like an Ezreal or a Varus, if you want to go a bit stronger in the lane, is possible. And Win says, well, 2 times the charm on the Varus, and no surprise at all that the Kazakhs will join.
Yeah, the Kazakhs certainly the big one, and with the Karthus being removed, no strange things to be picked for the jungle unless they want to move the Kazakhs around. In solo queue, we've been seeing Kazakhs make his...
Season 3 was a really long time ago, Alex. And, Alex Itch is not here to get the sick reset pentakills, so probably going to be just the Kazakhs jungle. But like you say, with BBQ it's always worth
That's
even
what I'm
mouthing
saying.
it, right?
Yeah,
You should just
yeah.
say it so you can be like, profit when you get it right.
Woo.
Varus mid lane, Varus jungle Atlas, who knows? As on the side of SKT, they're just saying, well, we just want solo lane power. And while the Urgot hasn't been doing as much winning, you pick it and you say it's at worst going to be a 40% matchup into something. It's never going to be dominated. And that's why they feel happy enough to just lock in Urgot, ostensibly for the 3rd time in a row, coming through from Khan. And, well, Faker's Lissandra, the 5-man W we saw last time, was a preview of what we could see this game.
And we also have to say thank you to Khan for actually giving Urgot some victories here in the KeSPA Cup, because I believe without Khan, he'd be 0% win rate. So, and after, you know, Urgot being 0% in our first series and played every single game, also it does feel a little bit like a scary pick, but that's the Orianna picked up from Autumn. And the next round of bans to come in as Thresh is going to be the first one on the side of BBQ, but interesting, Autumn did have a great performance, but that was alongside that Karthus jungle that was really messing things up for their opposition.
It doesn't fit into the classic wheelhouse of pick comps. Yes, you can use it as a pick tool, but it's not as reliable as, say, a Lissandra. They find the other side, but what does Ori do? She outranges and can out-trade Lissandra pretty reliably just because she has that ball leash range in order to go for trades. I think Lissandra a more reliable choice, but purely in the 1v1. That's not really how we think about League of Legends as much, but definitely some merit to it. Pulling it off, and the fact that the mid-game damage for the Orianna, when the game is usually decided, is fairly weak, means a lot of teams will look past it. But we see the Ori here, like you mentioned, returns to Autumn, could just be used to set up a shockwave play with Malice. If the Kha'Zix gets ahead, double support ban on the side of SKT, Tahm Kench and Morgana sent against Zeus.
Well,
Played some Soraka last time, you'll imagine, against the Tahm Kench, but Tahm Kench not going to be a factor.
Well, it is going to be Rakan being pretty high up when it comes to that priority, but Braum also available. A few more supports are certainly in the wheelhouse.
I think SKT will take Rakan if it's left open. So what a BBQ make of this? Might be actually a support Poppy.
Okay.
On the side of BBQ. Could be top lane as well against Urgot. It's also a very possible matchup, but a lot of support Poppy in solo queue. You get a lot of value out of Steadfast Presence against things like the Urgot and the Lissandra, even the Lucian. So a lot of value there.
I feel like Steadfast Presence works if you've got Dash Cannon Lissandra. We'll see whether we've got any Showmaker flavor coming in from Faker, maybe with Luden's Echo coming in instead. But the Rakan is what Marta's going to settle on. Was considering the Braum, but doesn't happen. Here is Annie's being hovered, but isn't going to be picked. And what are they going to be picking up for Clid in the jungle is the question.
We're just hovering things at the moment. The Lee Sin is up. That'll be Ultra Comfort. The Nocturne might even be considered because it's so strong against the Varus. The ability to come in from range. Varus has trouble with gap close, and it's a different gap close jungler. It's a blast in the past. We're bringing out Zac, which doesn't feel like it should be in the wheelhouse with all the damaged junglers. But man, that means that there's never any happiness for Orianna and Varus. I love that we're bringing this back, Atlas, because in the past, you set up for a siege with Ori and Varus, so frustrating to deal with, and you needed gap close to deal with them, and Zac has the longest range engage with that E.
Well, the Braum is going to be picked up here as well, so BBQ with some options here in the early game. Level 1 is very scary, actually. They can get a pretty huge invade down onto SKT if they would like to, so things could be potentially high octane very early into this match.
It kind of feels like you need the Kha'Zix to be enough ahead on the jungle matchup to ward the camps and stop the Elastic Slingshot from just ruining the day every time BBQ tries to set up for a siege. Because yes, Ori and Varus can be very strong around enemy turrets, poking down. Fairly short range wave clear on the side of SKT. The range advantage of Varus and Orianna is clear. But if Zac's jungling phase is uninterrupted and you can't get advanced vision, one engage from Zac, and he gets a lot of chances, very tanky, can just stuff the entire team comp of BBQ and their two main threats. So given that, so important for BBQ to track and counter jungle to Zac. We've had LCK finals decided by which team can shut down a Zac and which team actually got their Zac rolling. Let's see which way it goes in BBQ versus SKT game number 1.
Yeah, and Khan was actually very good at playing around Zac, because, of course, the one who debuted Zac when he got remade and made his way back into the meta again.
We'll be seeing him soon.
We will. We certainly will. And we'll see whether Khan's going to be able to once again just dominate the lane in order to give Clid pretty much a free jungling experience, because that's what it's about. And it looks like SKT have put themselves together basically 3 winning lanes that they can play around, especially pushing lanes coming in from the Lissandra and the Urgot, and Lucian just being so strong when paired with that Rakan.
Priority into AoE Wombo teamfights if the lanes go well and also the Zac is able to gap close and get into that backline.
Yeah, it's going to be scary, scary stuff. But before that, we are going to have a coach interview to bring things up. So let's have a talk to Zephyr, SKT's drafting coach. The last match, a lot of people say that you were very, very successful. And everyone's very excited. But they gave you about a 6 out of 10. So, but Zephyr says they give him a 7 out of 10. So he's giving a little bit more respect to his team. And he thinks that 7 is good enough. So
That's fair.
Absolutely fine.
They're still growing to happen.
Yeah. And just saying that they practice a lot, and how are they melding together now? And he's now referring to BBQ, and he's saying when BBQ played their first set, they did some pretty crazy picks, you know, and they did pick Orianna the first time around, so now they're feeling like they can be prepared.
And they feel like they had
now.
Zach prepared to answer something like the Orianna.
Yeah, so picking up things like that. And he also just feels that he's very, very confident, but also just in the composition alone, he feels like he's set them up with a very, very strong team comp to take this one. And now also, just referring to that first match that SKT played, Teddy played amazingly well, amazingly well. Is there anybody else who you're looking out for? And Zephyr says that I think that all 5 of our players are absolutely fantastic. It's not just Teddy, and that is going to be it for the interview. So Zephyr very, very confident and believes in his players, which, if you had read their names, you'd understand is an understandable thing to do.
And for those masses of SKT fans, they just wanted 5 names they could get excited about, and not just in Faker we trust, in Bang we trust, everything else, a bit of a revolving door. So, like you say, on paper and based on 1 best of 3, top marks. Looked great. SK Telecom T1, I'm willing to give you a 7.5. Zephyr's just a hard taskmaster, I guess. I'm wearing a festive
He's
hat,
just planning on
so
making them even better. So he just needs to have as much room as possible in order to grow, because he can't get to the 11
Can you have much more room to grow than SKT? They have so much quality on this roster, and some of them have explored highs. Mata and 2014 goes well. SKT and Faker and his pass goes well. Only Teddy, to me, and I guess Clid as well, given that he doesn't have any domestic success.
Yeah,
those 2 are ones that have a lot to grow in terms of the trophy case, certainly, but also to double down on their reputation. SKT looking strong, but how can BBQ Olivers change the story?
Yeah, if anyone's good at throwing wrenches into the machine, it certainly is the BBQ Olivers, and we are now on to Summoner's Rift for game number 1, SK Telecom against the BBQ Olivers for our final match of the night. And of course, the final match of this round of 8 as well. See whether SKT can continue the phenomenal form, whether they are going to trip. BBQ not with any strange drafting choices this time around. Feeling very, very normal, usual stuff. Hokong, I guess, on the top lane, Poppy is something that it's slightly out of left field, but not unthinkable. Oh, there we go. That's our first damage to come out from BBQ, winning the game already.
It's a micro victory, but you'll take a micro victory.
You certainly will.
Against SK Telecom T1. Speaking of SKT, you talked a bit about the draft. They do have strong lanes. I wouldn't necessarily say that full priority is there for mid lane, given that Orianna can outrange, but I think shove-wise in the early game, maybe a small advantage. The problem is that if you freeze the wave in an awkward spot on the Lissandra, she can actually have to overextend just to CS, and that can be tricky. Regardless, all 3 lanes are in a pretty decent spot. Top great, mid lane okay, but it's better in the early game. Bot lane can be abused if you take a bad trade. The fact that Varus has such long range on his harass. But all this is being discussed so heavily because if SKT could have 3 winning pressure lanes, it means that Zac will get a free farming phase, and then Zac will do the heavy work later, while the team comp from SKT can fight well on 1 item as well. So they bridge yourself very well if things go to plan for Zac, but the Zac minigame has been there, like we mentioned, in multiple LCK finals. It could be there again, because Malice is definitely looking at a very low presence enemy jungle.
Well, is he though? Because I guess this is Clid, who's cut his teeth in China, and we've seen that players like Peanut can utilize the Zac from as early as level 3 to decimate his opponents with such a long engage range that he does have available to him. I'm excited to see what Clid can actually do relatively early in this one with the Zac, because of course Zephyr was saying that they had this pick prepared. This is something that they're used to playing with in scrims, I guess. So we'll see what he is going to be putting forward. At the moment, level 2, and with no sights set on jungling just yet, you can see indicating that he's going to go for the Raptor camp into his red buff.
I was actually going for full clear top side, red buff into going into the Krugs, and now taking out his Raptors. So the level 3 taken very, very quickly with no scuttle because of the extra experience loaded into the Krugs. See where he's going to next is this is what you see so often against a Zac. Push in the wave, go down and put down some vision, track the Zac wherever possible. And Mouse will get a Scuttle Crab overall, so it should end up being camp for camp. So that's a small early advantage to the Zac, who's wanting to avoid the enemy insects at every opportunity.
Yeah, really interesting that we've got our first Rift Scuttler being taken after 3 minutes actually comes in, as Wind taking one of the worst trades possible. But as you alluded to in our previous series, Papa Smithy, there aren't very many good trades that you can take against Lucian at the moment. So probably going to be okay with still being alive. As now Battle Down's going to get Marta back towards Teddy. This bottom lane really being... We knew that SKT was going to look great, but I wasn't quite expecting Teddy and Marta to be this good this quickly.
Yeah, they're definitely impressed for a debuting duo lane that could have, you know, differing expectations of how to play the lane. Teddy's kind of had a motley crew of supports. He's had so many different supports, even though he's played, you know, 4 regular seasons, so 2 years worth of play. He's had 3 supports, Snowflower into Wraith into Nova. We've all had kind of different ideas on how to play the lane. I think Marta's definitely the rich man Snowflower when it comes to an aggressive laner who's always looking to take advantage of the enemy. Both of them Thresh gods, of course. But Marta, the OG and the man with the skins, that ends the discussion there.
I feel like a lot of the repertoire of supports Teddy's played with, though, do sort of fit into Marta's wheelhouse. I mean, Wraith's Alistair was fantastic in a similar way to Marta's as well, being very, very aggressive.
I remember Wraith as a Lux-only player, so...
Hey, I also remember Marta as a Janna-only player, so I don't know. I think it's interesting seeing Teddy evolve through all of the different supports that he's had, and we are going into CP mode, so that does mean another pause to come in this series as well, but it does mean that we can now sort of break down how this match is going to unfold as well, because I think that BBQ now just playing straight up League of Legends against SKT, things are much harder. I was expecting in the draft for things to be a little bit more weird, but now I'm skewing it even.
The series is young.
That is true. That is true. There could even be a third game.
See, my issue, because Clid has taken the ultra defensive path of, I'm not even going to try and take one of those scuttles. I don't clear it very fast as Zac, so I'm just going to take all my camps. I'll get level 4 anyway. He's taken that very defensive approach, and then he evolves into, like we say, a threat on the backline, and on a simple level, an Aftershock abuser. And then we have also the mid laner is an Aftershock champion. The top laner is Urgot. If the Kha'Zix doesn't get going, who are we killing is the problem that he's going to have, right? That's the big struggle you have against double Aftershock. It's why Kha'Zix in a tank meta kind of had to get going early or would struggle, is that can be a real problem there. Getting a little update, we're back into the game. Again, it sounds like it was a hotkey issue like we had in our first game.
Clid had a little bit of a hotkey
no
issue
technical issues on Christmas, thank you.
Yep.
No lumps of coal for us.
No toilet issues
clean
either.
League of Legends. I only call it League of Legends.
League of Legends?
Yes.
I was thinking maybe there was a League of Legends joke in there, but there even isn't one of those.
That's coming later in the talk.
Yeah, it is. Excited for that one. Going to be up against Freaks. Excited to see what a Freak is going to be like as well. In fact, seeing all of our LCK teams seems like a Christmas present that's going to be doled out over the next few days.
It's a quirk of the system that we've had. Today is the 6th match day, and there's still 4 teams to debut on the big stage. 2 in the same match, Afrika versus Griffin, and then we still have not seen Kingzone or LCK Summer reigning champions, KT Rolster.
Which is a very new-look team as well. In fact, I feel like Kingzone looks a little bit more like KT Rolster than KT Rolster does at this point in time.
Whole lot of weird stuff going on in the future, but we got to keep our wits around us for SK Telecom T1 against BBQ. Farming phase going decently. Again, I like the Varus Braum in the early trades here, and Lucian just an early back, so about even in the trades going on there. Poppy is going for the old build against Urgot, just try to build into the Bramble Vest and be okay. Doesn't hurt him as much as it used to. It used to be Bramble Vest's hard count for Urgot.
Yeah.
He's a little bit happier now that the armor scaling is a little bit more than the flat damage. Now, here is the
Teleport is going to come in, and Clid tries to find the stretching strike, but Not going to have it just yet. But just getting his eye in, that's absolutely fine. Stretch Armstrong has some recharge time and then will be available again.
And a lot of SKT fans learning more about Clid after his Ding Dong Gaming days were kind of missed by a lot of people. Did not make it to Worlds, of course. I note that he had the option to take SKT T1, Zach, and chose not to. So will not be using Blank's World skin in this game.
I wonder whether that is a BM statement or just saying that he very much likes the purple one, which was in fact Cuz's debut skin as well. So,
find out more and more as we see Clid play over the course of LCK Spring 19. In this game, Malice evolved claws, so he's definitely going to have some nice pressures. Here's Faker.
Yep, right behind as well as 4 members on the bottom side of the map. This should be the double kill as first blood goes to Teddy. The second does as well, and he's on a roll yet again. Make that 13 kills without dying so far in the KeSPA Cup.
And those boots were made for roaming on the side of the Lissandra. Merc treads into Ori, roams to the bot lane, super clean. No 5-man W, but a 2-man one guaranteed. Faker comes in. It seems like their wits weren't around them. Duo lane here from BBQ. Zach comes in. He's kind of icing on the top of the cake. It's a tasty cake. It's a positive one for SKT.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. And starting it off so early on as well, meaning that Clid in the jungle now has 2 assists behind him. Hasn't even been back yet. He's going to take this Rift Scuttler and then possibly go home or possibly go for a dragon or something like that. He's at full health at this point in time.
Oh, and what a tragedy. It was as the Varus just come back to lane. The lane was being frozen and then the Varus was ganked and he lost so many minions into the turret. It's an 18 CS lead out of nowhere and 5 minutes 22 into this series, it was 1 hour deathless for Teddy in the KeSPA Cup. How long will that extend is the question we have to ask.
He already has a 500 gold bounty and there's another gank. The kidnap comes in. See you later, Wind. This should be the 3rd kill for Teddy. And I didn't know that the KeSPA Cup was going to be the Teddy show, but I'm liking it so far.
And my favorite carnivore jungler from Clid is the Zach, apparently. 3 assists already this game. Still around the bot side. The return gank is pulled off. No Lissandra, no problem. A couple of turret checkpoints as well. And already the bot lane is on fire for the side of BBQ.
Yeah, and Teddy's on fire just in general for SKT. As we have a look at this one again, pretty textbook Zach.
Well, that's what happens.
Despite the flash, still dead.
And that's what happens when the Unbreakable is down. The Zach is already level 6. Actually, it's close to level 7. Got the ping at the end of that. Do you even return bot lane? The answer from Wind and Zeus is no. And this turret is going to be 1 checkpoint at best. An extra 25 armor and MR. Might not be enough to stop anything. And another one of these issues of the Ori is, yes, we said outrangers can out-trade Lissandra. Well, first Lissandra went down bot lane and roamed on the Ori. And Orianna, wave control, not the strongest in the mid game. The counter roaming so hard, because she's more of a quarterback mid laner, not a Lissandra with interesting impact. Here we go, though.
Yeah, the shockwave does come in. It's a bit of a sombrero on top of the Kha'Zix, but not enough damage available here against Faker. The Aftershock, just too much durability available as now Mata, he's going to get out, give full first turret blood gold over to Teddy, and Teddy's going to have just all of the money in the universe.
Now, come on, Observer. Do what we want. Ping over here.
Show me the gold.
First brick goes. Here's a 700 bounty.
He's almost
9
50
minutes.
CS ahead.
Here it is. He's double. He's more than double.
More than double.
Oh.
5.3k versus 2.5.
We haven't had a new Horizon in a while.
Do we call this the Teddy Horizon?
I mean, he is the Fountain Laser. We'll give him a bit more time, but the Immortal Teddy, also a possibility. It feels bad because, of course, in the jungle, I can't really reclaim that title.
I just want to make, I want to make the play school reference of being Big Ted.
Well, he is certainly Big Ted. If this Teddy shows up, you are not hugging it. You are getting the hell out of the room.
Yeah, this is the biggest Ted that you have ever seen. Well, Faker in mid just farming things out. He's done his job. He's managed to get his 80 carry fed, and now they get on the back of Teddy and win the game, I guess. Seems to be the new playstyle here for SKT.
They would like to get every jungle camp. Mata has gone to old Samsung White Days and put down wards in all the camps. That's supposed to be what BBQ's doing to find the Zach. This is to find the Kha'Zix. They're ready to take down anyone, and Clid will just slowly take down this Rift Herald. Get a bit of help from Mata so they can attack both sides. And that will mean that this 3,700 gold lead is likely to balloon very quickly.
And that's also a ward line that any coach would just be so excited about as well. You can see 4 wards making their way up from just the bottom side of the mid lane all the way up to the top with a ring around the Rift Herald. That is probably the safest Rift Herald take at 10.5 minutes in the game that I have ever seen. And it's only going to help propel SKT even further forward. Teddy
Can they
pushes
go
up.
much more further forward, Atlas? Based on this mini-map, the answer may be no.
I don't know. They're not in the enemy fountain yet. I think there's still
Give it
space to go.
Give it time.
Yeah, I think Marta will be definitely face first into the fountain if they get there.
Teddy has gotten so many turret checkpoints this game. We've seen games where the Rift Herald wasn't even used until after 14 minutes. There may be 2 turrets killed pre-14 minutes and a Rift Herald charge.
And I feel like the Rift Herald could just go into the mid lane as well, and they'll get all 3 of the outer turrets by before. What the heck?
I didn't think that was possible.
That's
I think
too
Riot
much
actually
money.
made it impossible. They tried to make it impossible to take down all 3 outer turrets and get all the turret checkpoints. And yet, it may be redefined by the Dream Team, as now Teddy has another 460 gold. Great.
Yeah, and still has a 50 CS advantage. 3-0-0. As far as entering a lane is concerned, I feel like Wind is probably in one of the worst positions possible when it comes to facing off against his Joy lane, and he's dead again. I think that's just a sign that things are going very poorly.
There was just no time for a eulogy, Atlas. He was already dead. He lived his life and then it ended. That was the story for that particular respawn, the Varus. Ooh, 800 gold bounty now. On to Teddy.
I was
Clid comes
searching
mid lane, and how about that Rift Herald charge? They have pretty good aggressive vision, given that Lucian and Rakan are face checking, and Clid says, you know what? I might get criticized by Coma if I channel it in the river. I'm going to channel it next to my turret.
Thinking that, and he is going to do so. Teddy comes in, picks up the last couple of minions. They'll get rid of this minion wave as well as the charge is set up.
Pre-14 minute 3 turrets?
Good God. Well, I mean, Shelly's here whacking away at this one. We've only got 2 more of the turret plates to come in, and it's 13 minutes on the dot. Yeah. I think they'll take a dragon as well.
Yeah.
Is there anything that BBQ can possibly do? I don't think so.
We saw a best of 3. SKT saw an all-you-can-eat buffet, apparently, and they take everything on the map. This is an ultra decimation, is what we would call this.
Ultra decimation.
Yes.
Wow, when you have to search for phrases like that, 8.3k versus 3.5 of his opponent is Teddy.
Can we remake on that?
Well, I mean, BBQ will say yes. SKT will say probably that they're probably happy to do it again.
The funny thing is, you know, if you're LS trying to pick up the pieces, even if you do the VOD review afterwards, they made some mistakes, but not many.
I would not show it to BBQ at all. I think
you
it's just
have
be
to learn,
PTSD.
Atlas. Just like when you have a bad cast and you listen back to it and you're like, oh, I sound awful there, or oh, that was not the right point to make.
That's true.
You have to watch it back, because what you'll be struck by is, yes, there was some duo lane mistakes, but there weren't that many mistakes in this game, and there was a lot of min-maxing by SKT. This is definitely the Idiot's Guide to patch 824B, written by Coma and also, of course, Zephyr on the side of SKT. And we should give a shout out to Coach Fly, who came over from Jin Air Green Wings as well. It is now a 6,700 gold lead. They take over all of the map wherever they want. Turns out they don't need vision when you have this many items. And we never mentioned Poppy's name because she's been chilling.
Yeah. Kong just says, I don't know what's been happening on the rest of the map, but I think it's bad. So head under the sand, please. And you put Coma together with Marta.
You put a turret down,
Engage is going to come down, and the kidnap is going to be all she wrote for Zeus. Nowhere that he can go. Chains of Corruption not corrupting anything on the side of SKT. The flash in from Marta gets the double knock up, and look at the damage availability from SKT. He's not even going to go down as the hula hoop to celebrate there from Autumn. That is not what you want to see, but understandable from a BBQ that is just in shambles.
And it was 4v5 as well. Why would Urgot join? He's too busy playing for his own lane. Is Khan. They continue to push up the mid lane here. You look for anything to salvage this game for BBQ, and there's nothing, Atlas. We're all watching on around the world on Christmas Day in awe. The Christmas present from the side of SKT is how to play League of Legends optimally, and it's been some optimal League of Legends that's led to BBQ, understandably, just watching on to dirty wombos like this.
Yep. I feel like Teddy's birthday is at the same time as Jesus, based on this game, because good Lord, is he having a celebration for himself.
We call Faker God. That does mean that Jesus could come into the picture as well.
That's true, and he should probably be on the same team, if we're saying teams are like families.
I guess Death is probably closer to a lamb of God as an alpaca, but...
I feel like we
I
might
have to provide analysis for something, Atlas.
I just feel like we might get into trouble, you know? And it is
This is KeSPA. This is not a Riot broadcast. They've got no power here.
It's a special religious day today, which maybe I don't know. That being said, I mean, SKT is being very disrespectful to barbecues right now. And I guess we can...
We're two Australians, and we know a thing or two about barbecues.
Damn right we do. Especially on a day like today.
Oh, yeah?
King of Barbecues Day.
Well, you know, when the Aussie accent comes out, then things have gone to...
When Papa brings out the "oh yes," that's
well, see, the problem is all my other Australianisms involve swearing, so... That's oh, yeah, and yeah, nah, and bah. That's all I got.
What about all right? How's it going?
It's amazing how 20 years of living in Australia gets reduced to Crocodile Dundee references, but it's all I got. Sorry, guys.
Oh, is it a knife, though? This Clid's going to find himself control ward. We're going to bring it back here as the control ward line for SKT is continuing to look absolutely beautiful. 17 minutes in, they have complete control on everything.
It's also the unexpected perfect game of they even got all the turret checkpoints.
They got all the turret checkpoints, both the Rift Herald and the Dragon at the same time. And they might even win before 25 minutes.
It does feel like you're being... You know when you feel like you've watched the perfect movie and then a movie beats that? This is like the ultra-perfect game. Is a possibility, is something that is so rare. You know, some people object to how we use Flame Horizon for 100 CS advantage when it used to be 100 CS in the laning phase, but the game changed, and so the term changed with it. Does this become the new perfect game or a perfecter game, or do we have to find a new adjective? We don't know yet. They haven't won it. They haven't gone deathless as an entire team, but they're on course. It's just BBQ just missed out on Christmas dinner, and SKT have had 3 or 4 helpings already.
Yeah. I guess BBQ Olivers may serve turkey as well, and SKT really wanted some and paid for the premium because they seem to be getting their money's worth here against BBQ in this game 1. Oh man, and to be Hokong as well on the top side as this Poppy, who's pretty much been fine, you know, he's been farming it out, things are okay as the turret in the mid lane, double knock-up, double kidnap from Clid, as 4 members of SKT under the turret will deliver Petty another kill. Zeus goes down, it's Clid down to the passive so perfectly, tanking the turret as the bounce in comes down, but it is just not enough. It's Khan that eats him up. Oh god, there is just no wrong that SKT can do, and at 18.5 minutes, they take their first inhibitor.
BBQ are diving in just to stop the perfect game, just to get something on the board. Even a single kill will do. We watched the replay here, and we talked about how games are different when you have eyes on Zac, and when you do not, they don't got eyes on anything other than their health bars going down so quickly, whether it's under turrets or out in the open. They get the bloblets out, so it's a moral victory for the side of BBQ. Slow solo on this Drake, back away. The 10,000 gold lead came mighty early, and SKT just have too many items. The difference between Wind and Teddy is hard to watch.
And it's always been, you look at the 20-minute mark, and I feel like it's evolved constantly over time, and 10,000 gold was always the insurmountable point. I feel like it's even worse than that now. In this current meta, if it's 10,000 gold lead at 20 minutes, there's almost absolutely no way you can possibly win. And SKT were at that at about 17.5.
And the reason why that kind of makes sense, Atlas, is that there's so much gold in the game, it feels like everyone's getting a participation award. Oh, yeah, exactly. You let your mid laner room? Don't worry, mate, here's 160 gold for a checkpoint. No, they actually got everything, and got a lead. And there was no counter things available to the side of BBQ.
All of the comeback mechanics haven't been utilized because in the jungle, there's a lot of comeback mechanics in the camps. They can't get their camps. Comeback mechanic in the bounties, they haven't got a kill. There's so many things that Riot has put into the game to help teams in this position, but if you can't get there, it's even worse.
We went from soccer to AFL. If you miss, don't worry, you get a single point. It's still something. And yet, no behinds even here on the side of BBQ. Unfortunately, only a gold lead to show there as the culling is pretty monstrous already, but unbreakable. A nice tool to answer it. Teddy, there's 3 of them there, mate.
God, the double tap looked like an ability. That was ridiculous. Hokong taking a lot of damage here from Khan, but Khan just disdaining towards him, having a good time. Does have himself that shield available as well. And now you can see SKT can set themselves up in any brush that they would like. and choose to come forward and kill absolutely anyone on the side of BBQ. Hard to push in here at this stage of the game just because it's so early. You know, we just don't quite have enough turret damage, but with this dive coming in from Clid, looking for the stretch Armstrong, does get the pullback onto Zeus, but that is just going to secure this turret, not going to get any kills onto BBQ at this particular point.
Super Minion pushing in mid. Urgot hoping the Poppy will leave so he can try to take down this last inner turret. Again, killing the Poppy really, really hard. Doesn't have Ignite at the moment. It is Faker, and he actually gets dodged by the ultimate there by Malice.
Yeah, thankfully Malice does go invisible to save his own life. Not wanting to fall down yet again as Clit flashing forward, gets another double kidnap here into the backline, right on top of the grand entrance. It's another hula hoop in celebration there from Autumn as the inhibitor is going to go down the second, and now SKT looking for the game. 10-0, 12,000 gold lead, 7 turrets to none, 2 dragons to nothing. It's taken everything from BBQ, and they're looking to finish the game right now. Pre-22 minutes, Faker dives forward. That's the fear beyond death. The fear to come in as well at the end. Hokon goes down. It's Clid turning golden as a puddle underneath this turret as Malice jumps forward. Can't get any of the kills. And the Nexus to fall down. Perfect game from SK Telecom T1 in the KeSPA Cup in their second match.
But somehow perfect game doesn't do it justice. If they're the dream team,
The
this is the dream
perfectest game possible.
I think it's the dream game, Atlas, from the dream team. This is some Harlem Globetrotter stuff coming through from SKT1. Most people will know that reference. That was, of course, putting together those mega powers in order to take down all comers. The mega powers is how SKT looked on paper. Again, it's BBQ and APK Prince. But even if you're only watching one side, what criticisms do you have for any of the decisions or even the micro plays from SKT based on game number 1?
And I guess you have to look at the pedigree of the players that they're playing against, and maybe Teddy can't abuse the lane quite that hard, but at the beginning, they were playing respectfully. Like you say, it wasn't until that first couple of kills comes in where Clid makes that beautiful engage, when Faker comes down and gets the perfect position with that Claw of Doom to secure those first kills. What happens if that doesn't get set up? Like, I don't know, I think you're right, Pop Smithy. I think that this is one of those times where you can't just say, well, their opposition wasn't good enough. I think this is just an SKT that looks better. Remember, you look back at their vision line as well. It feels like old school SKT.
Well, very impressive performance. Going to come back from the break, guys. More Christmas Day League of Legends. BBQ Oliver's, but you might miss it. SK Telecom T1 too strong in game number 1.